In 1776, the 13 American colonies declared independence from Britain. They shouted, "We will no longer be ruled." They demanded freedom. They demanded a future of their own choosing, but Britain did not yield. For 7 relentless years, war consumed the land. The Continental Army was thinly equipped, raggedly clothed, and constantly hungry. The people were poor, stripped of comfort and security. Britain wielded one of the most formidable armies and navies in the world. Yet, under the iron leadership of George Washington, the Americans refused to surrender. In 1781, at Yorktown, the British finally capitulated. 2 years later, the Treaty of Paris declared the United States a sovereign nation. Freedom had been wrested from empire, but it was incomplete. Millions within the new nation remained enslaved. Slavery had existed for decades, long before independence. And even after 1783, it continued to grow, spreading through fertile southern lands, fueled by cotton plantations and merciless laws. The country split, half free, half enslaved. Every year, tension thickened like a storm cloud over the young nation. It was in this fragile, divided, and turbulent America that a boy was born. On February 12, 1809, in a small log cabin in Kentucky, a child entered the world with nothing, no wealth, no privilege, no power. His name was Abraham Lincoln. One day he would rise to lead this fractured nation, to tear apart slavery's chains, and to give true meaning to freedom. Government of the people, by the people, for the people would not perish from the earth. This is the story of Abraham Lincoln, the man who saved the Union and ended slavery, who transformed a nation in its darkest hour. Abraham Lincoln was born in a one-room log cabin on the remote frontier of Hardin County, Kentucky. The cabin was modest walls made of rough-hewn logs, no proper floor, no glass windows. Life there was raw, relentless, a constant struggle for survival. His father, Thomas Lincoln, was a laboring farmer and carpenter, scraping out a living from unforgiving land. His mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln, was gentle, patient, and wise, instilling in young Abraham the values that would shape him: honesty, discipline, compassion, and relentless work. The Lincoln family owned almost nothing. They survived by hunting, farming, and sheer determination. Clothes were homemade from coarse cloth. Every day demanded labor, every night meant exhaustion. When Abraham was 9, tragedy struck. His mother fell ill with milk sickness, a deadly disease caused by contaminated milk. She died. The boy's world darkened, leaving a wound that would never fully heal. Yet even as sorrow shadowed his childhood, Abraham clung to one treasure: his hunger for learning. Schools were rare, sporadic, almost non-existent. When a wandering teacher arrived, lessons were brief, often held in a log cabin or a barn, lasting only weeks or months before the teacher moved on. In the end, Abraham Lincoln would have less than a year of formal education. But Lincoln refused to surrender to circumstance. While others accepted the harsh life of frontier labor, he reached beyond it. He borrowed books from neighbors, devoured the Bible, Aesop's fables, histories, and legal texts. He wrote on boards when paper was unavailable. Night after night, by the glow of a fire, he absorbed knowledge. Slowly, meticulously, he shaped his own education. Poverty could not touch the fire inside him. The years that followed brought more hardship, but also new light. His father remarried Sarah Bush Johnston, a kind-hearted woman who nurtured Abraham's mind. She treated him as her own, encouraging his love for books and his desire to learn. Where others saw a poor farm boy, she saw potential. She often said, "Abraham was different. He wanted to know." Lincoln's passion for reading grew even as survival demanded toil. The family moved repeatedly from Kentucky to Indiana, then to Illinois, always searching for better land, better opportunity. Wherever they went, Abraham labored tirelessly, splitting logs, plowing fields, and performing grueling farm work. Each swing of the axe, each day bent over soil, honed his strength, his endurance, and his resolve. He became known as the rail splitter, cutting timber for fences with unmatched precision. At 19, Lincoln took his first journey beyond the frontier. He worked as a flatboatman, transporting corn, pork, and farm goods from Illinois to New Orleans. The journey exposed him to the wider world, to commerce, trade, and human suffering on a scale he had never seen. In New Orleans, he witnessed slavery in its rawest form. Men, women, and children bought and sold as property. Families ripped apart, lives reduced to merchandise. The sight seared itself into Lincoln's memory, igniting a fierce, lifelong hatred of slavery. Returning home, he worked as a store clerk in New Salem, Illinois. Here, his honesty became legendary. Overcharge a customer by a few cents? He would walk miles to return it, misweigh goods. He corrected it without hesitation. Honest Abe was no nickname. It was a reputation earned through unwavering integrity. Village life also honed his voice. He told humorous stories to entertain, but when the moment demanded, his words carried weight, wisdom, and fairness. Here, he developed the simple, commanding speaking style that would one day sway an entire nation. Even as he worked and spoke, his hunger for knowledge never faded. Every spare moment became study. He read grammar, mathematics, law, and history. Neighbors often found him stretched beneath a tree, absorbed in a book for hours after tending the farm. Poverty had denied him teachers and classrooms, but Lincoln built a classroom in his mind, brick by brick, word by word. By his early 20s, Abraham Lincoln had lived multiple lives: farmhand, rail splitter, flatboatman, store clerk. Yet within him burned the desire for something greater. He wanted to understand the world, to serve not just his family, but his people. In 1832, at 23, he ran for the Illinois state legislature. No money, no education, no connections, only honesty, hard work, and a growing mastery of words. He lost. Most would have stopped. Lincoln began. He decided to prepare himself fully for the challenge of leadership. He studied grammar, history, and law with ferocious discipline. He borrowed legal books, returning them on foot across miles. He practiced speeches by firelight, rehearsing cadence, clarity, and force. He joined community debates, refining his ability to speak with confidence before an audience. Slowly, the awkward, towering farm boy became a man who could command attention and respect with nothing but words. By 1834, the people of Illinois recognized him. He was elected to the Illinois House of Representatives, serving 4 terms. He championed infrastructure, education, and fairness. He spoke against slavery's injustice when others dared not. Integrity, reason, and courage defined him. Lincoln's self-education in law led him to the bar in 1836. Without formal schooling, he read, rewrote, and mastered complex legal texts. He earned respect in court for clarity, fairness, and a relentless pursuit of justice. His reputation was not for winning cases, but for serving truth. Failures in political campaigns followed, losing bids for Speak R in Congress, but Lincoln pressed on. In 1846, he won a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. He spoke boldly against the Mexican-American War and the spread of slavery. Each setback, each lesson honed him further, preparing him for battles far beyond the frontier. By the 1850s, Lincoln was a respected lawyer, but the nation teetered on collapse. North and South were sharply divided. Territories seeking statehood posed one question: free or slave? The 1854 Kansas-Nebraska Act reopened the wound. Slavery could spread unchecked. Lincoln returned to politics with a fire that could not be quenched. His speeches condemned slavery as both unjust and existentially dangerous to the nation. A house divided against itself cannot stand, he declared. Half free, half enslaved, the country could not endure. Some feared him, others admired him, but no one ignored him.